Hello class, your lovely teacher, Isabella Electrum is here today. Today we're going to be talking about methods, the thing that's going to save you a lot of time and hassle. Okay, good round thing. So, as we've spoken about before, this is your main method, and here's your class. So, as we all know, it is horrifically painful to have to type out system.out.println blah 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 blah, whatever you want to print. So instead, we can come outside of the class. So we're going to click right here so that we know what links up with this curly brace right here. Okay, so we're going to come outside of the class. We're going to type public static. This one's going to be a void because it's not going to return anything. Print. And then we're going to put in here the parameter string what to print. All right, is that being a fit? Actually, wait, do we do it here or do we actually have to do it? Hang on. And we might have to do it right here. Okay. So yes, you do it inside the class, but outside of the main method. Okay, so there's two different ways that people do it. Some people like to put it below the main method. They like to stack up all their methods below the main method. Some people like to stack up all the methods before the main method. Both ways are acceptable. Personally, I like my stuff below the main method because I like opening and looking at the main method. That's just me. Although when I do public variables, if I do them above main so I can scroll up to look at it. That's just a me thing. You can really put them before or after. Doesn't matter. So what we're going to do in here, system.out.println, and then we're going to write what to print. Okay, so this right here, the way we read this is this method, it doesn't return any value from where it's called, but it does print out to the user display. And when you call this method, you have to tell this method some sort of string. And that string becomes named what to print. Whatever it was named previously, it's now named this. And then it's printed out. So let's say here we have string, okay, not strong, string, Tim equals, since I typed strong like an idiot before, I guess we'll type strong. And then make it a proper string. And here, let's see, let's put up a couple of strings here, just so we have them to mess with. String ashy equals nya. I wonder if I should do like some live programming stuff. I think that could be fun. Let me know in the comments below if you guys would be interested in seeing some live programming. I think that'd be an excellent way to learn. Okay, so now we have two different strings here. Let's see if words failing. If we wanted to print these, we would have to type out system.out.println strong, then a new line, system.out.print nya. Or theoretically, you could also do them both in one print, but it's still a lot more typing and annoying. But instead what we can do is we can simply print Tim. Let's run it. Strong. This does this in significantly less things. Now let's say we have a couple lines of just miscellaneous code here, blah, 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 blah. Let's say you have, just for the sake of argument, let's just say we have a really long program, and this is all super important code right here that's completely unrelated to printing Tim. Now, I mean, it's this pain to have to scroll all the way up, copy it, and paste it back down. So at this point, you could just go print Ashy, and honestly, that's even faster than scrolling up, trying to figure out the last place that you wrote print Tim. Because say all these are important lines of code, you'd have to read through and find it. And now, if you run it, strong, and yeah, very, very simple, very, very useful, saves you a lot of time. Now, you could also do more complicated stuff than just a print, but a print is a very useful one, and I always recommend having one around. Let's see. Public, static. Don't even worry about public static to begin with right now, by the way. We can just leave that there for the time being without understanding it yet. We'll get to that in time. But this void is if there's no return type. What I want to do now is I want to make a method that adds two numbers together. So let's just call this adder. Even though, of course, Java can add stuff together on its own, let's just, for the sake of argument, create this class. But adder here, that's our name. So what are we going to put here instead of void? Because, I mean, we want it to... So there's two ways to go about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add it together, and then I'm going to send it to the print statement to print, just to use our methods. So we're going to need an integer, because I'm going to be adding numbers like 1, 7, 3, no decimals. So since we're going to be adding integers, this is a public static int adder. And then we're going to be, we're not dealing with strings, we're dealing with integers. So int first, comma, int second. Now, it's going to throw a hissy fit here, because if you look over here, it's going to say that it must return type int. So I'm just going to make right here what's called a stub. Just, it doesn't do anything, but it compiles, and everything works fine. So what we're going to do here is an int sum equals 0. I'm going to come down here. We're going to return sum. Now it's happy. It's being returned an integer. Obviously, it's not going to do anything correctly, but it's going to work. Now, let's come up here and get us some integers to deal with. Int x equals 7. Actually, yeah, sure, 7 works, I guess. And then int y equals 3. Spacing doesn't really matter. Everything will always work with that kind of weird spacing, like none at all. But you can space it out there to make it more nicely readable. User preference. And then we're also going to need an int, let's call it z. This is going to, okay, what did I do there? Okay, int z equals, let's just call this -1 for right now. So we know if we get -1 back, something's wrong. So, how are we going to add these? How are we going to get to this? Very simple here. We're going to go adder, x, comma y. But there is a slight problem here. And let's see if you know what it is. If you know, shout it out in the comments below. We're going to run it and see the problem here. Of course. So first off, there's a couple problems. One is obviously nothing's going to print out. But the second one here is obviously this being a stub. But if we fixed all that, this will not actually do anything of particular usefulness to us in terms of printing it back. What we really need to do is type z equals adder. Because this right here alone, without the stuff without the equals z, this just will do this, but it's going to return sum. It doesn't have anywhere to set that sum to. Now what's up is z equals adder xy. Imagine all of this right here exists right there. So basically z equals sum. Whatever sum is set to z. If we don't have anything to set it to, what are we doing to begin with? So z equals adder xy. And then after that, we're going to be doing print z. Now, I'm going to show you something really cool. You can overload methods in Java. So what we can do here, we can make public static int print. And instead of string, we're going to put int what to print. Then we're going to go system.out.prints ln what to print. What's the issue here? Ah, yes, I see. Common mistake here. This is still a void, actually, because we're just printing something to the screen, and printing to the console here is not the same as physically returning sum. In this case, returning means you're going to be setting a value equal to something. But in our case here, no value is being set to anything. We're just displaying something. So if you're just displaying something, it's void. So you'll notice right here, this is named print, this is named print. This is called method overloading. And Java is okay with this, because this print is for a string, this print is for an int. Now, print z is going to go, oh, z is an integer. We're going to use this version of print. And up here it will still work, because it knows that's a string. So it's going to use this one. Now, before we get to make sure this works, let me just show you that strong and Nyan will still print, and that it hasn't broken that. Boom, 0. Because right here, the sum is set to 0. So it's been overwritten from -1 to 0. But obviously, 7 plus 3 is not 0. So let's make that work. Let's do some math here. So we don't have to do it. So basically, sum equals first plus second. That easy. Let's run it. Voila! Strong Nyan 10. Quite simple, quite effective, but useful things to know about methods. Quick recap before we end the video here. Useful terminologies. So of course, this is the name. This is your data type. This The stuff that goes into the method goes here. Anything you want to send through into the method has to be here. So you can't just say, what's important to know here is you can't type X and Y in here because it's no longer named that. Like, you're passing and it's being renamed. So just don't do that. Additionally, making a print method, very useful. It'll save you a lot of time. And you can overload this, by the way, with 2 strings. So really quickly, you can overload with the same kind of thing with a string. And you can also put a second string here, totally acceptable, string int string. All of these are allowed. You just can't have 2 completely identicals. Like if I was to literally copy and paste our integer, it would not be happy. But I can go, comma, string, just work. And it'll work. And additionally here, you could also plus just work. Yeah, okay. You just have to remember to close your print statement. That's all for today, everyone. Have a wonderful day. No homework, but if you want some extra credit, look up some stuff on loops. Specifically, we're going to be talking about for loops because they're my favorite kind of loops. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I will see you all next time.